So let me ask you this. You're a PhD. Did your mom inspire you to go that route in terms of becoming a doctor or getting your doctorate?
No. My mom wanted me to be a doctor like her.
Okay.
So I went to work with my mom. And I said no. Not for me. No. I see what my mom does every day. I see the struggle. This is not me.
Hey everyone, it's Tony Will. Oh my gosh, you guys are in for a treat today on Women In. I cannot wait for you to meet my next guest. But before you meet her, let me tell you what you're listening to. Women In is a podcast that celebrates women from all walks of life and the people who uplift them. Each episode features incredible voices from my world, sharing stories that spark inspiration, challenge the status quo, and remind us that empowering women empowers everyone. This is a bold, curious, uncensored space where disruption is welcome, forward thinking is encouraged, and change is the goal. I'm passionate about breaking down barriers, not just for us, but for the next generations. Whether our paths cross professionally or personally, these conversations matter. Let's dive in and celebrate the power of connection, growth, and the people who are shaping our world, and this woman is definitely one of them. Dr. Natalie Luke is a PhD executive, senior vice president, and host of UnCeiling You. She's on a mission to fix the real cause of burnout in high performers. Not the workload, but the broken responsibility structures underneath it. And that is the best bio ever. I'm telling you what. Hey, Natalie.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, short, sweet, to the point, and like, let's dive in. And we're a minute in. I'm like, we're going. So tell everyone how you and I met.
We met through Podmatch, and so I think you reached out to me, and I saw your bio. We live in the same state, and just I was amazed at who you were, what you're doing, everything, and I had to have you on my show, UnCeiling You.
Yeah, so let's talk about, I was just telling her off air, we were emailing last week or the week before when the episode came out, but I have been on many podcasts as a guest, but what Natalie put together was, I was so proud to be a guest because how you structured it, the way it was not just the questions you asked, but then you were using your expertise to explain what I was answering your question to. It was a great masterclass for someone. If you're looking to make an impactful podcast and you want to layer in your level of knowledge with your guests, listen to this podcast episode or listen to UnCeiling You. So how did you decide, let's just talk about the podcast first, okay. Natalie. How did you decide that you wanted to start a podcast? Why UnCeiling You? How'd you name it that? And then the production that you put into it, because it's a lot. I'm super impressed by it. So take it where you will from there, but it was a great episode. Everyone listen to it.
It was a great episode. You were fantastic. You brought it, and I love the way that you talked about your story and the path that you're taking, and so I don't want to give it away, but it was a wonderful episode. I'm so glad and proud to have had you on it. So UnCeiling You is like the ceiling above your head, so UnCeiling, and I actually wrote a book called UnCeiling You, and it was a book that is all about my mom. My mom had decided to go to medical school. She was admitted when she was 31, and it was at a time and an age when only 5% of the people that were in medical school were women. And she was the oldest one in her class at that time, because you really had to go straight from undergrad to medical school. And I did a little bit of research at that time to find out, like, in order for you to be accepted as a woman in medical school, did you have to be way smarter than the men? All of that. And the answer to that is no. Really, it was all about how we saw ourselves as women. You're a woman, you become a nurse. Not woman, you're a doctor. And so it wasn't until I was like in my mid-40s that I realized what a story it was to watch my mom go apply for medical school, get into medical school, kind of really expose herself to ridicule for going to medical school, and getting out of medical school and seeing all the people that were critical of her going to medical school and seeing them proud. I'd realized not until my 40s how much that really impacted my life. And it impacted the whole story. Going through it really taught me the value of dreams, the value of dreaming of different possibilities, of questioning what I felt was possible for myself. And so I thought, well, my mom's story is so powerful. What if I started interviewing other women like you that were doing powerful things and sharing their stories for other people to question if they felt like just that little bit is possible for them, how much more possible is possible when you believe in possibilities, or you can see possibilities in others.
So tell me, what's the rest of your mom's story there? She goes to med school. She becomes a doctor of...
She became a family physician.
Okay.
Today she's retired, but the thing that was really the most interesting part of the story is, okay, so my mom applies to medical school. She applies to 12 medical schools. She doesn't get in to 11 of the schools. She keeps applying. So she's got this desk that's organized with all of her applications, and they're in neat little piles, and we are told that if we touch her desk, we will be killed.
Don't mess with mom.
Don't mess with mom, and don't mess with medical school. So and every time she got you weren't accepted, she would call the medical school. Why was I not accepted? What was it about my candidacy? She'd learn something new. She'd learn about the type of med school she should be applying to, all of this stuff. And so finally, the last medical school she applied to, or the one that she got in, they said, you didn't get in because you don't have this class. And she said, well, if I take the class in the summer, will you admit me? And they said yes. So we ended up having to move from Chicago to Kansas City. Well, my mom has to tell her mom that she's going to medical school and moving. And I dug into my family to understand our family history a little bit. But anyway, my grandmother was a very cantankerous woman. And so, but as a kid, I didn't see that. All I knew is Grandma gave me presents, Grandma loved me, all of those things. I didn't see the other side of Grandma until that day.
Okay.
So me and Mom go over to Grandma's house, and this is shortly after my mom's admitted to med school. We have our typical lunch. It was, my favorite grandma food. We get up to leave, and my mom breaks the news. And to me, like, the nuclear family, of course, we knew, we were excited, we're all, yay, because she'd been dreaming about this the whole time. And my grandmother's, I expected the same response from my grandma. Same. My grandmother's response is, what do you think you're doing, Bevy? Because my mom's name is Beverly. You are getting dumber as you get older because you lose brain cells. What are you thinking about? Why are you going to med school? And in my 16-year-old brain, I'm like, really? People get dumber as they get older? Mom's getting dumber? Maybe I can use that. And that's going on in my brain at 16. And I look at my mom, I'm like, Mom? And my mom's like, go wait out in the car. And so then my mom talks to my grandmother. We get in the car. I'm like, Mom, is everything okay? She's like, yeah. My grandmother's attitude never changed. She always was like critical, like you guys are doing something stupid, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't until I was in my 40s, like, what if my mom that was standing there responded to me like that? How would I have felt? I would have felt horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was amazing that she pushed through, and she did. Now, my grandmother, when my mom graduated from medical school, we have this picture. My grandma's standing there like this. And I tell everybody, you don't know this, it looks like a frown, but that's a smile.
So was she proud of her in the end? I mean,
she was proud, yeah.
Okay. That would have been hard. So your mom is one tough cookie, clearly resilient. So tell me, Natalie, did that, and I can see why you wrote a book about that, because really what it is like unsealing you means there is no ceiling.
Yeah.
You determine it. Which aligns exactly with my thought process. If you've got a calling or a passion or something you want to do, figure out and make it happen. And that's what your mom did.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You're a PhD. Did your mom inspire you to go that route in terms of becoming a doctor or getting your doctorate?
No. My mom wanted me to be a doctor like her.
Okay.
So I went to work with my mom. And I said no. Not for me. No. I see what my mom does every day. I see the struggle. This is not me. So I ended up I got my bachelor's degree in education. I was a high school biology chemistry teacher in the inner city at the time, taking guns and knives away from kids. And I was like, wait, this isn't, I love science. I like kids, but I love science. And so I thought, you know what? I also love thinking. So how do I combine my love for thinking and my love for science and kind of do a pivot? And so when I didn't even know what molecular biology was. And so I decided to apply for a PhD program with a bachelor's degree.
I love it. Leapfrog right into it.
I got in.
You did. I love this.
Well, you're going to love this next part of it. So in graduate school, there were people coming from all over the world. It wasn't just all over the state. It was all over the world. And in this particular program, they give you a stipend to be part of the program. So you're getting paid a little, about $11,000 a year to go to school. You don't have to pay for your school, which is awesome.
That is.
So I get accepted, and there's these people from Romania, from England, from China, some from the United States, and they already have master's degrees. Some of them have an MD degree, and I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry, studying molecular biology. There were some terms that I should have known that I didn't know, and in that program, in order to survive, you have to be within one standard deviation of the top score. Otherwise, you're out. You're kicked out. And the only thing I could think of is I don't want to go back. And I thought to myself, I may not have a master's degree. I am coming in without the same level of knowledge as everybody else. But what I do have is a bachelor's degree in education. And with what I know with my bachelor's degree in education is I know how to learn, how to catch up. And I told myself the human brain has to see something 6 times before it remembers it. So I am going to expose myself to all this material 6 times before the test, every piece of it. And so I did the work. I worked hard. stayed on that formula, exposed myself 6 times to this, teach it to somebody else, all of that. And by the end of the first year, I was the only American to survive the course, the whole program. And then by the end of the second year, I was the one who was setting the curve.
Wow, I do love that. I love all of that. So tell me, I'm intrigued by the process of 6 times. How did you do that? Like, what was your process to ensure you were looking at it 6 different times, all the material?
So I knew the syllabus. So the first time is read before you go to class. We're going to be talking about cellular biology, chapter 1. Read it before you get there. Then that's number 1. Number 2, I'm in the class. The teacher's talking about it. That's my second exposure. Number 3, my notes suck. So rewrite your notes and combine it with what you just read. That's the third. 4th, get into a study group. Review it with the study group. That's, now we're at 5, and then 6 is review one more time right before the test.
Wow, that is such a great tip for anyone, and you can apply that to anything you're trying to learn, whether it's getting your PhD or a certificate or anything.
Yeah.
So what did you do once you had, and by the way, I just looked this up recently, and tell me if I'm wrong, maybe you've looked it up too, but I use my friend ChatGPT, and it states that 2% of women in the US have PhDs.
Oh, I did not know that.
Okay, I didn't know if less than 2, around 2% or a little less. So you are an elite club, my friend.
All right.
And I always highlight this when I have women with a PhD on my podcast. I've had a good, a good percentage of the 2%, I think. So I always, because it's so badass and it's so, it's a lot of hard work to get that and to be like, no, this is what I want to do. So what'd you do with the degree, or where did you go in life after that?
Well, so I decided I liked the teaching. Also, I looked at how much professors make at universities, and I was like, yeah, I kind of like a little bit more. And I also realized I was going to be the breadwinner for our family, and I wanted a little bit more for the family. So I had taken a couple weeks to go through what color is your parachute, to understand, like, what are my gifts, what do I love. And I play tennis. I love competition. So I'm like, how do I take my knowledge as a PhD, my love for competition, and my drive for a little bit more and make it controllable for me? And so I decided to go corporate with my PhD. And so I ended up working for a company that sells to other researchers, sells products to other researchers. So I went that route. Now, my professors were not so happy about that, although they were happy that I was happy, but it was a different world for them. And then from there, I ended up growing in the corporate environment. I went from a company that sells to other researchers to a Quest Diagnostics. So I worked for Quest Diagnostics for some time, and then I stayed within the diagnostic world since then. So my PhD, the way that I've applied it by talking to other researchers. That was a lot of fun. I've also applied it by talking to physicians about molecular tests. And then I applied it by designing clinical studies, and then finally writing research papers. So I have, like, the last company I worked for, 30 research papers under my belt as a result of that.
Wow. And I'm going to go out on a limb that as I was reading your bio, that one of the topics you've written about is fixing the real causes of burnout.
No, not yet.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
No.
Well, What would you write if you were to write about this? Or, we could frame it out right here and then you can listen back and be like, oh, this is.
Yeah, that's true. So I really would like to go into where, we always talk about when, by the time you're exhausted, you're about ready to leave. I want to catch it sooner. Like, okay, so I'm reading this book called The Rise of Chronic Stress and How We Can Fix It, The Burnout Epidemic by Jennifer Moss. So this is what I'm reading right now.
Okay.
And she does a good job of saying, okay, who are the type of people that can get burned out? The conscientious type of person, the perfectionistic type of person. What I would love to do, and I was actually thinking about this morning, I have on my website a tool to see where you are in the trust cascade, like taking on too much at work. What I'd like to do is catch it sooner, like, are you healthy in terms of how you're setting your boundaries, what your limits are, or not? And where are you starting to go down that burnout? What do we do to bring you back to healthy? I think that's where I would love to focus for the future.
Burnout's been a hot topic, I would say, just in the world of leadership, thought leaders, thinking leaders, whatever.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And not that it's not true, because I think it is. I think we're talking about something that wasn't highlighted and now is. And so what do you see in the rise of people saying, I'm burnout? And do they even know what burnout really feels like? Because I feel like the word sometimes overused, like, oh, I'm burnout. Well, how do you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. And sometimes we can talk about burnout to the point where we become burned out.
Right.
Like, I talk about having some kind of disease to the point where I'm convinced I have that disease. You know what I mean? Yes. And that's a thing. And that is what I would love to be able to study more of. And I think that what burnout looks like for each person is different. And when you get to that point is different. I feel like in my job day to day, I'm at a perfect spot. I feel like I'm not overly burdened. I feel like I know where my responsibility starts and somebody else's starts. And what I find burns me out is when I take on your responsibility of how you feel. Mm-hmm. That just has changed me a lot. Like, I'm allowed to feel what I feel. I'm allowed to think what I think. I'm allowed to do what I do. I'm allowed to respond the way that I respond. I am responsible for how I respond. I am not responsible for how you respond. You are responsible for how you respond, how you think, how you feel. And for me, that's what I lay out in my framework is, what is your responsibility? It's kind of interesting. There's this one time when I was talking to my boss, and I needed my boss to make a decision on a specific day. And I was hoping my boss would make a specific decision on a specific day. And my burned out self was like, I am going to do everything to convince my boss to make that decision and make that specific decision that day. And it was burning me out. It was stressing me out. And when I took a step back and said, wait, what am I responsible for? What is he responsible for? There's some things he's responsible for that I have no idea. And so when I finally said to myself, Natalie, that's not your job, that's his job. He's paid the big bucks to do this on time and to do it this way, not you. So all you could do is lay out the information and let him decide. So I got on the phone. I said, hey, I'm hoping you make the decision today. And here's your choices. I'm not going to lay out what I think, but here are your choices. And if you don't make it this day, this decision this day, then here is what will happen. And then he said, well, what should I choose? And I said, it's up to you. You're the one who gets paid the big bucks. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, I'd like to shoot myself right now. I'm like,
oh boy,
that's not going to help us. But he goes, don't worry. Just give me 10 minutes. I'll call you back. And then he made the decision. And he made the decision I was hoping he was going to make. But what I noticed in myself is I wasn't stressed when I realized it's his choice.
Yeah, and you can't control it. So, and we tend, do you see, I don't want to make everything about gender, but do you see women that tend to do that more? Like we take on, I know I do, I take on extra responsibility that is not mine. And as I'm getting older and wiser, I'm relating very much to what you're saying, because I'm going to be like, that's a fill in the blank names problem or responsibility. It's not a Tony thing. But I think women, we tend to take more on.
I think so, but the thing is that I'm also seeing it in men, caring men. Like the other day, there was another situation where somebody else had to make a decision, and I got this text, from this gentleman at 9:30 at night. He saying, "Did you see that email?" I'm like, why is he looking at that email? It's 9:30 at night. And so I called him. I was like, what is happening? And he's like, well, I'm thinking this and this and this and that. I'm like, okay, let's talk about what is your responsibility and what's not. And go to bed.
And did that help? Yeah, did that help to have that dialogue?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great that you picked up the phone and said, hey, clearly he was feeling a certain way, and you didn't just text back and say, yeah, I'll read it, but you actually engaged in that. What's within you that felt like that was the right thing for you to do?
Well, I first I felt for him, and second of all, one of the most important things that we can have in our roles is community within the workplace. And so it's part of building on and being a member of that community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it helps foster trust too, and all that, because clearly you cared and said, hey, it's not a you thing.
Yeah.
So we opened the podcast talking about how you and I met, but then that quickly morphed into a story regarding your mom. But I want to talk about other women in your life, including your mom if she's on the list. But who are the women, Natalie, who've helped you become the woman that sits before me today?
So many. Well, of course, we talked about my mom, my sister, is part of that as well. Anybody that brings community. But for me, I feel so blessed because not only do I have the women at work that are part of my ecosystem, I have tennis, tons of women in tennis. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is such a great to see these women be super competitive, improving their tennis game, talking about how to improve their tennis game. And then after the match, there's really awesome it's so awesome to talk with fellow athletes like that. But then also podcasters like you are also part of, starting the podcast. My environment with women has exploded.
Yeah. Haven't you found that podcasting, I didn't start it with this intent at all. It's networking. I've met the coolest people through podcasting.
Yeah. I feel like I've come home.
Yes, it's a great way. And I just love doing it. I love listening to other people's stories. And if I weren't podcasting, I don't know if this is bad to say or not, you and I would have never met, A, and B, to sit and have a 45-minute long conversation probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And so it's such a amazing tool for these things that I didn't even stop to consider. I just wanted to lift women up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Have you ever gotten to go to a Podfest at all?
I did. I went for the first time last January and I loved it.
Oh, in Orlando? So,
yeah.
So January of 26.
Yes.
Okay, I went January of 25.
Mm-hmm.
So I missed you then. Oh my gosh, and meeting all those people at Podfest is amazing.
It was. It was like a shot in the arm. I was actually speaking at a conference that was embedded in Podfest. It was called Amplify Sober Voices. And so I spoke at that one-day conference, and then part of what our package included was a ticket to Podfest. I loved it. I mean, so if anyone out there wants to start a podcast or is a podcaster, check Podfest out. It is phenomenal.
Yes, I love that. And then also, the other amazing tool, if you're going to go into podcast, is definitely Podmatch, because it makes it so, not only do you meet all these people, it's an easy way to meet people, but it keeps you organized. Before Podmatch, I had all these folders with all maps of, okay, what's got to happen today, tomorrow, all that. And now with the Podmatch, it's all organized in there.
It is. It's, and people are like, what's Podmatch? I call it like Tinder for podcasting. You can match up, and you can either be a host or a guest. You could be one or the other, or like both. You and I, be both.
Yeah.
And so and I've been definitely doing more hosting with Podmatch than going and applying to be on shows. But yours I did, because I've just been, I don't know, busy working on my book, but I'm like, oh, I'll get back to it. It's a great platform. So what would you say, Natalie, to someone who's like hearing us right now and has been thinking about podcasting? What's the first step to like get going? Because it can be pretty intimidating.
Yeah, so don't expect perfection. You're going to evolve naturally. Just start. That's, I started with my first one, little clip. It was maybe 2 minutes long. Hey, I'm starting this podcast. I remember my first interview. Jennifer was my first guest. She was already she had probably 200 podcasts under her belt already. And I was fumbling over my words, and she just smiled.
And how long has your podcast been out now?
I started it in the first of 2025. Okay. So okay. I just released my 75th episode.
And talk about the behind the scenes that people don't see. Do you do all the production too?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. The editing and you narrate, like when they listen to it, if they listen to our episode, you come in and say, Tony said this, and then you explain where I'm at in that whatever cycle, or we were talking about a lot of different things, but
yeah.
So break that down. Do you just like listen to the episode we did and then start to map out like what you're going to insert into our conversation?
Yeah. So what I do, and I also use Chat and also Claude to help me. Mm-hmm. And I make Chat and Claude fight with one another too.
I love it.
It's funny. So what I do is I take the transcript and I talk to Chat, and I'm like, I think if we were to have an insert here, 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 and here, that would be perfect. And what I could educate on is blah, blah, blah. What do you think? And then it will say yes or no, and then I'll argue with it.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to Claude usually to help me with the script. And then when I go to record, I normally record in the morning when my hair is not done, and I make sure that it can't see me. And so I'll record the inserts, and I'll know where exactly you said this, and then the insert goes there. And then what I'll do then is, after I clean up the inserts, I go back to the original, and then as soon as I see that spot, I'm using Riverside like you do, I could just click plus, and it's already in like your project folder, so then I just add it right there, and then I put a little bit of music before and after.
Wow. I'm just so impressed because That is so much, even though you're using AI, and Riverside's fantastic, everyone. So if you're thinking about podcasting, we both endorse Riverside because it makes it easier and using AI tools. But it's just really thoughtful how you go about doing that and the end product. So when you had podcast episode 1, was it formatted the same way, or have you evolved? Okay, so you've evolved into this.
Yeah, because before I was just doing straight up interviews, and now and I didn't know what my voice was. I didn't know what I wanted to focus on. I didn't know any of that. I decided I was going to learn along the way what was my passion and that sort of thing. And what I found is that in my day job, I was struggling on the emotional part of it when people did this or that, or they didn't complete this or that, or they were feeling this or that. And so I started developing tools to help myself through all of that. And then when I did that, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This could be something other people can use. Then that's when I discovered my voice. So then when I'm interviewing, I'm like, wait, I'm selling other people's things. I want to also sell my stuff, sell what I'm doing. But I don't want to do a solo episode all the time. How do I make it interesting so that I can do good for my guests, but also do good for me? And so that's how it all evolved.
Yeah, it's a masterclass. You should teach a breakout at PodFest on this.
Okay.
You should, because I will be there. I think it is so, it's really smart is what it is. And I think a lot of people could learn from how you do it. And like what we're talking about, how the sausage is made, but also the why, like why you do it this way, because it is, we're on there to tell people stories, and usually we're selling something of some level, and it's like, well, how do I showcase my expertise as the host too? And you've done it in a way that is not overt, but it's authentic and it's helpful.
Yeah. And I am having people that are coming on to my podcast to talk about something related to burnout, but from a different angle. So that makes it more interesting.
So you said you were figuring out your passion as you go. If you were to summarize it, what have you found your passion is?
My passion is, number one, to help people to catch when they are about to go too far at work, to set those boundaries. But also at work, the one thing that my company has loved about me is that I make projects happen on time, and with not so much fun fanfare. Like, we get it done together. And part of the reason why we do that is how we go about making decisions. It might look a little messy at first, but I make sure everybody's input is in the mix when we have a plan, when we put the plan together, so that when we execute the plan, it's check, 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 check. And then when we go to the go, no go, everybody's like, of course we're going. And so what I want for companies is to have more of that. What I find when sometimes new leaders come into the mix, they're not used to that. They're used to one person making the decision and everybody else figuring it out. And I'm like, yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And so what I would love to do for a corporation is to be able to come in, help people know how to make better decisions, because when you make the better decisions, then the people don't get burned out.
Yes. Yeah, isn't decision making an interesting topic? Like, just how some people are very decisive and some people aren't, and they freeze, paralysis by analysis. And so what you're saying is you're helping through bringing people together, and not just saying the one person's in charge. We're getting input from all the stakeholders that allows it to not be knee-jerk, but also not get stuck.
Yes.
In the decision-making process. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, that's correct. And so once we do make a decision, I'm pretty good about documenting what decision was made, why it was made, what the assumptions were when it was made, so that when people go back to that decision and question it, it's like, remember, so that we go, but if you don't get everybody's point of view, I will say, as you're going about making those decisions, you can make a bad decision. So I want to make sure we get everybody's point of view so that we make a decision that's a good one.
Yeah. We're getting close to wrapping up, but I want to ask a few quick fire style questions, some fun ones, some fun and some just, great stuff about women. How do you lift women up, Natalie?
I hope through my podcast.
I would agree. You certainly do. Good. You showed the book. Hold the book up that you were reading. Are you reading something else too? Do you read multiple books?
I'm reading this one, the burnout epidemic, the rise of chronic stress and how we can fix it. But I'm also reading this book. It's the Role Clarity is Not Micromanagement. Clear expectations create better autonomy. This has been a really it's more of an outline, I would say. I wish she would have put more stories in there. Mm-hmm. And then I have this great book that's arriving in my mailbox on August the 11th.
I wonder what that is.
Rebellious Success. I ordered it. It's coming.
This one. This is an ARC, but yeah. I got the hardcovers in. I'm in Florida right now visiting my dad, but I got the hardcovers in before I flew out. I didn't even know they were coming this soon. But I'm like, why can't we publish it sooner? But we can't. So August 11th. I can't wait for you to read it and get your feedback. There's stories in it too. So.
Oh, yay.
So you love to read?
Sometimes I have my ebbs and flows, like, okay, I'm in a reading mood.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a listening mood.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So a fun question. I believe there are two types of people in the world, and we're going to talk about cell phones here for a second. So are you the type person with your cell phone that the battery is a 50% or above at all times, or do you let it drain and get close to it, like dying throughout the day?
I'm a 50% person.
Yeah, me too. I don't like it when it's like getting past. I'm like, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, speaking of cell phones, one more. There's two types of people. Are you an Apple iPhone or Android?
Apple.
All right, yeah, when we get the green box, I'm like, they're in a group text, I'm like, there's always one. All right, so let's talk about refrigerators and what's in them. If you were to grab something out of the fridge, and not milk, not anything dairy, like salad dressing or something, and it's 1 day past its expiration date, are you the type that will go ahead and use it, or are you like, heck no, and throw it away?
I don't even look at the expiration date, so.
I don't either. So you're like me.
I open it, see if there's mold in there. Not? Okay.
We're good. We're good. All right, last one. Laundry. Are you the type of person that throws it all in, or are you separating out the lights and the darks?
Separate.
Okay, all right. I throw it all in. And why do you separate, just out of curiosity?
That's what I was taught.
Yeah. Oh, Natalie, this has been such a great conversation. I love the work you're doing, as I've said, and I am excited for what your future holds as you continue to write and podcast and I don't know, do the cool shit you're doing. So where can people connect with you?
They can connect with me through LinkedIn, Natalie Luke, PhD, or through unceilingzone.com. So that's UnCeiling zone.com.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again. And
yeah.
Well, I won't be cutting this episode up like you did. I don't, I'm not as talented as you. A fair warning.
No worries.
I didn't think you'd judge me. Good.
No.
If you are looking to connect with me, I'm not hard to find. The hockey side of my life is at kwings.com. And then everything else I'm working on, Natalie did such a great plug for me for Rebellious Success. By time this airs, it will be out in bookstores and online. And I always like to say shop local, just to support those local businesses as well. They can be I can be found at tonywill.com and on all social platforms as well. And until next time.